Thank you. So please, at the end of the year, we are expected to do the following. And we believe that these things will be done by the members of the club and the people that we are affiliated with. We are expecting that all workshops, tutorials, and general reviews should be duly executed. So please, wherever you have a role to play, kindly look at that place and then write it down, put it at heart, and then make sure that you are supporting the agenda. Members should have completed writing their research manuscripts. Members should have presented their findings at a research dissemination seminar. Some members should have published or have been in the process of publishing their findings. So if you have a research work that you want to publish, please be thinking about it. Before this academic year ends, we are expected to do that. Be motivated to come up and then let's do it. The club should have attained full capacity to be self-sustaining in finance, in running of our programs, in understanding of the vision, the mission, and the activities that we want to engage in. Then all the executives should have handed over to a duly elected set of fresh hands. So these are the things that we are expected to do. We want to encourage everybody to come on board. We might not be good at all the places here, but we believe that this vision, we saw you in the vision, and then we have crafted it such that you have a role to play. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Vice President. I think all our executives deserve another round of applause. They've been very, very, very hardworking and very good in helping us. Okay, so we'll move on to invite our patron, the patron for the club. So he's a practicing librarian in the University of Health and Allied Sciences, and he's also a lecturer. He teaches information literacy, for level 100, which are university-wide courses for all level 100s in the school. He's a certified Mendeley advisor, and he has published in several journals. He's also a chartered member of the Ghana Library Association. He's here to talk about the role of the research club. Let's introduce Dr. Dominic.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good. Prof. Chair and deans, directors, faculty present, thank you very much for honoring our invitation to this August occasion. We are so grateful. UHAS Students Research Club. When you read the literature, you realize that nations that are developing and are doing so well prioritize research. They use evidence in making decisions. And the opposite is true. So countries that are not giving attention to research, countries that are not investing in research, you can also see them the way they are going. And in Africa, the literature goes on to tell us that about less than 2% of the world research output is coming, less than 2% is coming from Africa. Is there any reason? Is it because we are not interested? Is it because the governments are not investing in research? Perhaps all these could be reasons. But is it also the case that those who are supposed to engage in research are not well-baked before they get into the world of work? Is it because they go through the 4-year program, the 6-year program, they produce their thesis, dissertation, and go out like that? Or is it also true that some of them go through what we call the paper mill, where they have to hire others to write their papers for them? I believe we don't have people like that here. Do you ask people to do your assignments for you? All right, if you are one of them here, then I don't think this is the right place for you. So we have situations where people, every academic institution in this country have structured programs to take students through research, so that at the end of the year, or the students here, they are supposed to produce thesis or dissertation. However, when these students graduate and they are required to initiate research or be part of a research team to complete a project, you see that majority of them will be struggling. What is the reason? It is perhaps because people are not well trained, or maybe the focus of the training does not really meet the needs of the people we are training. And Research Club that is duly registered through the Directorate of Student Affairs has been set up to use relaxed and informal instructions to help students to clarify research. I'm choosing the words carefully. To use relaxed and informal environment and atmosphere so that we will be able to demystify research. We go for research classes and they will teach you what is theory. Now when you start your research, and when am I going to use theory? Which of the variables am I going to use? Sometimes some of these things are abstract. Can we find an environment where we can make these things real? Where when people are talking about theories, they know what they are talking about. When you are doing your dissertation, you don't just put some theory there just to pass your thesis and go, but you understand what you are doing. When we are talking about variables, you understand what the variables you are interested in are. Last 2 weeks, we met here and we are talking about defining our research problem. Some of us, we've got to even know that some of us don't choose our research topics. They are being forced on us so that we go and research on. Sometimes it can be a challenge when you yourself, you don't know what you are going to do. Your supervisor thought that was his or her area, and perhaps you should be able to do something in that area. It shouldn't be a forced thing. It should be something you can initiate on your own. So that we don't get to level 400, we don't go to level 600 before we get confronted with the challenge of doing research. So that from level 100, level 200, we know the business of research. We are able to speak the language of research. So that by level 300, we are in groups undertaking or initiating some research projects. We are also hoping that we want to train students who will go out into the world of work and are able to do research and use the findings of research to take decisions. In our health facilities, I believe that if we begin to use evidence, scientific evidence to take decisions, we will be able to make the world a better place and the health environment a better place for our patients. And so on that note, I want to use the opportunity to invite every student here and every student hearing our voice this afternoon to be part of the UHAS research community, especially when the vision of this research group is in line with the university's vision of being a preeminent health research educational institution dedicated to community service. As a matter of fact, as we heard from the executives, they have outlined a number of comprehensive programs to help us achieve this goal. Madam Chair, I want to use this opportunity to make an appeal to management of the university as we embark on vocational training. Is it possible to send some of our students to some of the health research institutes like IHR, like Dodowa Health Research Center, the Kintampo Health Research go beyond that. So if management can consider, maybe when our students get to the final year, some of the places they can consider for vocational training can be some of these health training centers. We have a long-term goal of establishing UHAS Students Journal. And we are believing, I thought you would clap. we are believing that students from this club will initiate projects, will be able to embark on this project scientifically, and they'll be able to write reports that will be worthy of publishing in scientific journals. And the journal can be successful when we have students who are committed to this project, so that if in a year we have about 10 students who are having their reports ready, scientific reports ready, then I believe that the Institute of Health Research and the library will be eager to help us to establish this journal. We also want to see this club organizing the first scientific conference for health students, where students all over the country will come together and present their findings on students will come and present their findings on challenges, problems they have seen in their communities, in the health centers they have visited, and how we can all come together to make those places better for the health community. Madam Chair, I want to bring my presentation to an end, but I cannot do that without making some acknowledgements. First, I want to thank the Vice Chancellor, who from day one gave her blessing to this club. When we visited her, she was all for it. I want to acknowledge the support of the registrar, the rep of the registrar, Mr. Anijoho is here. We are so grateful to the registrar. And to our freshest professor, Professor Anaman. We are so grateful. The Dean of Students has been grateful and has been very supportive from day one, giving us all the direction and the support that we needed. To the University Librarian, Dr. Edu, we are grateful. We don't know what to say. David has been worrying her. David will call her, okay, Doc, we are inviting you for this program. And then the last one was, Doc, we want you to give us water. And she did. Can we clap for her? Director of PA, the rep is here, Senior Mark James. Tell Director we are grateful. She actually coached us as to how to coin the name of the club. You know, UHAS has policies on intellectual properties. So you could not just choose any name, you could not just choose any color or any logo. She coached us, and so now we are all rest assured that tomorrow nobody is going to cite us for copyright issues nor any other ethical issues. So we are grateful. To Professor MG, Professor Magbe Japon, we've been told that those in health research, Institute of Health Research, and most of the scientists actually believe in using codes. So Professor Magbe Japon, as we will call her, Prof. MG, has been very instrumental in this. She has actually owned the club. She has owned the club. To the extent that today she has other important things to attend to. A very busy person, but she decided to block every other activity to be here. Let's give it up to her again. Finally, I want to thank the students who started this. The club is for students, and it will be for students. David, Lauricia, Augustine, Alberta, Efia, and the entire team, Emmanuel, you have been doing well, and we appreciate everything you've done. And from the look of the support we are receiving, it should tell you that everybody is supporting you. Everybody is going to give you the best that you need so that this club can get to the height that everybody is looking up to. We believe that with God, this will not just be a UHAS club, it will be a club that the world will be looking up to. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much to our patron. Please, let's give it up to him. So, just as our patron rightly said, the UHAS Student Research Club is not restricted to only a particular school. It's for all students in UHAS. Everybody has access to it. So we would invite our president to introduce the reps from the various schools. Please, let's give it up to him.
Yes, it's good to show your face on days like this. So we want a lot of faces to show. If you see someone in your course, in your class, you have more reason to join, right? So if you're a rep, come for it. You need to be confident enough. Spread out there. Come. So you introduce yourself. We want to hear their voices.
I'm Hilda Japon, dentistry student, level 100.
My name is Amuzuke Kelly Gloria, a Med Lab student, level 100.
I'm Priscilla De, Med Lab student, level 100.
I'm Millicent Ofori, midwifery student, level 300.
I am Precious Rebels, speech language and hearing sciences, level 300.
I'm in the person of Gaga Jovalent, level 300 nursing student.
And I'm Enoch Agbosu, level 300 pharmacy student.
So these students represent us in your class. So they will come in front of the class, communicate to you, and also take feedback from us, from you to us. The feedback is important. We need to know how you see what we are doing so we can improve. There is no one person or no small group of people who know everything. So we want to hear from you. Speak to them. Maybe this program is bomb, useless. Let us know. Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. We've come to the second part of the program, and this is where we hear from our invited guests. Okay, so the first person we are going to hear from, impressive resume. Okay, so she has spent 27 years of her life as a professional librarian, and she had a MPhil degree in library studies and a PhD in information science at the University of South Africa. She has published several articles and in world-renowned library journals. That should tell you the level of experience she has. And she's a treasurer for the Consortium of Academic and Research Libraries in Ghana. So this person is the librarian here, the main librarian here at the University Library, and she's in the person of Dr. Teresa Edu. Please let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My laptop, things are all coming off. Would it work? Probably might need to push this later. Okay, so whilst they do the technology part of it, let me start by saying I feel very privileged to be here and to talk to you about the role we can play as a library in this beautiful club you have set up. A few, would I say weeks ago, David came in with one lady. She has been here. I'm trying to, yes, that's her. Your name again? Laurentia. They came to my office. And then they came to talk to me about the research club. Immediately, I became very elated. Why elated? Because it is something that is really on our hearts as a library. As a library, we believe that to give visibility to the university, then we need to push the frontiers of research. That is one of the biggest ways by which we can give visibility to any institution, any tertiary institution. And so the library is all out for it. And as Dr. J rightly said, we are here to support you. In fact, so we are here to support you and to ensure that this works, not only for you as individuals, but for UHAS as an institution. I've been called to talk about how we can sustain research among our students and what we can do as a library to support you. I'll talk about the vision and the mission of the library, which was actually captured in the letter that was sent to me. It was as if to say, this is what you said you would do, and so we want to see you doing it. And then we'll talk about the support for research activities. I'll talk about the collection that we have as an institution, or, yes, the library as an institution. I'll talk about our electronic resources, and then I'll talk about the IAC, that is the Information Access Center. That is the newest on the block, and I'm sure a lot of you have not seen it or do not even know about it. And so I'm going to show you some beautiful pictures of the IAC, which would whet your appetite for research at UHAS. Okay, so I love this diagram over there. That's the heart. And I find it interesting because we are in a health institution. And all of you know the role the heart plays in the body. The essence of the heart. How significant and important the heart is to every human existence. In fact, that is what the library is to every academic institution. We are the heart of this institution. And when we say that, we are partnering with faculty to advance teaching, learning, and research. What we mean is that the library is not just a building. It is not just an entity that you see. The library is more than books. And it is more than buildings. It is a dynamic place where students can interact with each other, interact with the resources, interact with the human resources in the library for their research work. And then when we say that we provide global access to library and information sources, we are talking about information all over the world. And so as an institution or as a library, we are a member of the Consortium of Academic and Research Libraries in Ghana. And what that means is that we have access to a plethora of research materials, electronic resources, which are made available to our users. And then also we say we want to ensure that these resources are effectively exploited and used. You can have resources which are not being exploited and are not being used. And so when we talk about that, then we want to align it to the issues of having the skills, having what it takes to be able to use the resources to your advantage. And we also, as our vision, want to provide leadership, academic leadership and support for excellence in healthcare education and research. And so basically, we want to see not only our faculty, but our students, because we work both with faculty and then with, what did I press? Okay, I think I pressed something else. Okay, we want to work both with faculty and then with students. You know, the library's vision aligns very clearly with the aims of this club. I want to refer to a few, in fact, the specific things that you indicated as your aims. You said you want to assist your members to acquire state-of-the-art research skills. And the library is all out for this. We are here to train. And for those of you who have already engaged with the library, you know that we organize all kinds of training activities. And it's even good that this thing has been set up. Most of our training activities are normally forwarded to faculty. But now, with this club in place, we are going to let you participate in some of these. I'm sure there will be a platform, or probably we can let the president have some of the training programs, and then this can be shared with all of you. And these are not only internal trainings, these are global trainings. I told you that we are members of CALIC, we are members of AFLIA, that is the African Library Associations. We are also members of what we call IFIL, Electronic Resources for Librarians. And so all these global institutions organize trainings from time to time to equip people for research purposes. And we're going to share some of these things with you. You also indicated that you want to assist your members to carry out research and publish in appropriate journals. We are all out for this. For you to be able to do your publications, you should do your citations very well. You should ensure that your articles come out well and all that. The library already does training in citation, and I'm sure a number of you know that. Can you show by hand those of you who know that already? Some of you don't know. Okay, so you're hearing this for the first time. And so we do extensive training. I think when Dr. Ajay Dankwa was being introduced, he was introduced as the Mendeley resource person. Yes, Mendeley is about citation. And so we do a lot of training in that. We also talked about holding seminars and then holding seminars for the dissemination of research findings made by your members. You talked about making your work known to others. UHAS Library has set up the institutional repository. Already we are populating it with students, dissertations, and theses. But yes, when your research articles come out, we will publish these in the institutional repository as well. And so you get to have that kind of visibility that you require. We have already talked about the information resources that we have. In fact, by implication, We have various electronic resources. We have book resources. I would come to talk about that. We have the human resources, that is the people who will train you on the various things that you need to know. We have the skills development abilities that you need to know. And of course, we also have a very good ambience for research and academic activities. The library is a hybrid one, and so we have manual materials and then we have electronic materials. I know that for a lot of you, you are IT savvy, and so you would want to use the electronic materials. There are a whole lot of materials that are available that you can use. So we have both hard and soft materials, and then we acquire these materials in collaboration with both faculty and then, of course, the library management. But we also give students the opportunity, in some cases, to make recommendations. And now that we have this club in place, we would also give the club, as a body, the opportunity to make certain recommendations on some of the materials that we acquire. I talked to you about the fact that we are members of CALIG. We have, by being members of CALIG, we have access to over 500,000 plus articles, both e-books and then electronic journals. And for some of them, you actually get full text. In fact, for most, you get full text articles that you can use for your research. And then we also have Research for Life. In fact, the Research for Life coordinator for this region is in the library, and he's in the person of Mr. Fred Aibo. I don't know if he's here. Fred, is Fred here? Not yet. Okay, so he is the resource person for the whole region, and he is in UHAS. And so, if you want training on how to use the Hinari resources and all that, the one who actually does it for the whole region is in our library. Next week, he is going to organize a training program for the nurses training, is it nurses training college? Yes, the nurses training college. He is organizing a training program for them, a 2-day training program for them. And so if he would leave here and go there to organize that for them, only on Research for Life, then he can do it here as well. And then I'm sure all of you know about the Henry Stewart talks, which some of you already use. These are available to us. We also have free online resources. We have the WHO IRIS. We also have the PEDMA, that's a free text archives of all biomedical and life sciences literature. All these are available when you come to the library. And one of the beautiful things is that you do not necessarily even have to come to the library. You just need to register, and then you can have access to the resources because they are electronic resources. And so wherever you are, you can have access to them. In fact, all our materials are IP. You can access them. They are IP based, so you can access them wherever you are. And then when you are off campus, we also have a resource that you have to register with, and then you can have access to our resources. That is when you are out of campus. And then I talked about the newest on the block. About 2 years ago, the government of Ghana and then Korea had this partnership which has established what we call the Information Access Center in this institution. The aim is to bridge the global digital divide and then to provide all of us with that opportunity to develop our ICT skills. And so probably you might say, I do not know how to do this. I do not know how to look for information. I do not know how to do A, B, C, or D. This center has been set up purposely to train in this. And this resource is both for UHAS community as well as the whole of the Volta regional community. And so I would entreat you, being the ones here, to take advantage of this resource and use it to the best and to the fullest of your abilities. It has an ICT training lab. Over there, we do a lot of training. It has just started. And so in collaboration with the UHAS Research Club, we should be able to organize all kinds of training activities over here. We have an internet lounge. That's a free space. You come and sit and then do your research activities. Of course, we do not encourage watching films and just doing your emails and things like that over there. We expect that when students come in there, they actually come and use the place for the purpose for which it has been put up. And then we also have a seminar room. I'll show you a few pictures of some of what I just talked about. 1 second. Why is my video not running? Okay. Okay, so these are just a few pictures of the IAC I talked about. I am not sure any one of you have visited this place yet. But as you can see, we have all kinds of computers over there. We have a video conferencing room, which you can easily use if you want to do your short videos for publicity purposes. This is available for your use. I think that I should go over this thing again. I don't know why. Okay, it looks like it takes a while before it starts playing. Okay, so basically that's the IAC. The library, you already know, is located on all our satellite campuses. So we have a library at Sokode. Currently, it has moved to the basement of the CD auditorium. And then we have one at Dave and we have one at Hohoi. So wherever you are, you should be able to have access to all our electronic resources. You can have access to our electronic resources when you go to our library website. That is library.uhas.edu.gh. And then you can also call, send us emails and all. But yes, now we are going to do a stronger collaboration with the UHAS Research Club to ensure that you benefit fully from the library services. I'll say thank you very much. I really wish that you would have a great experience with the UHAS library. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Doc. This one would rightly side with what the president said you're discussing. So we have those resources there, but Google is always our last stop. So right now that we know about this, I hope we would be able to effectively use it. So she's the director of the Institute of Health Research in UHAS. She is also the coordinator of the Center of Health Policy and Implementation Research in UHAS. She has in recent past been a member of the WHO Task Force on Malaria Research Capability Strengthening in Africa. So with a standing ovation and then a loud clapping, let's welcome to the podium Professor Margaret Japon, aka MD.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and it's so nice to see this room full. 2 weeks ago, those of you who were here were so few, but it's really, really nice to see that the club is catching up. Well done to David and the executives. But David has said it himself. He has a problem with his time management. And every time I stand here, I'll talk about David and his time management. As a researcher, you need to manage your time very well. Otherwise, you run into serious, serious trouble. But it's really a pleasure to be here this afternoon and to finally see this club getting launched. You guys have really, really done a great job. Like David said, it's the first time I'm hearing of something like this. Started by students, started by medical students. When I was, many years ago, when I was working in Kolebu, teaching third-year medical students, they used to call the community health department community bloody health, because that was where they had to do their research, and they didn't like research at all, you know. And so they'll just go to Damfa in those days and sit under the tree and fill their questionnaires and write their reports and bring. They didn't like it. And then it translates into their world of practice. They just want to be in the consulting room or in the theater cutting bodies and stitching them up. They were not interested in research. So I was very impressed to see that medical students were starting this. Congratulations. Congratulations to you. So, as usual, David will write you long letters and give you a long list of things to do. So he said I should share my experience. And then at the bottom of share your experience, he gives me 5 questions to answer. So I have to answer to my boss all the 5 questions that I've been given. So in sharing my experience, I'm going to go through the 5 questions that Chief David has given to me. So the first question was, what led me into research? What led me into research? And for some of you who have come to visit me in my office, whenever I say I got into research by mistake, they sit up and look at me. I had no plans of doing research. In fact, when I was in university, I hated research to the core, because the people who taught us research made us feel as if we were useless and we just didn't know anything. They'll come and stand there with theories and calculations, ANOVA. I hated that word for a very long time. And then they start talking about statistical analysis. You just don't understand what they are talking about. And then at the end of the day, they'll make us design a questionnaire, and we'll walk from campus to Kiseman in the village and go and sit there and collect information. Then we come and then we have to tabulate. Those days there were no computers to enter. So you have your questionnaire and then you count individually the questions and you do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You cancel 1, 2, 3, 5. I said, what at all is this? I came to learn and now they want us to. I hated research to the core. Then my project work was on sustainable fuels. So I had to test different types of fuels to see which was most sustainable. So I had to burn firewood, charcoal, and then palm frond mixed with the residue of palm kernel oil. And every time I finished the experiment, so I had to cook beans and rice on each of these fuels. My grandmother had to make muchia. You know muchia? With the soil, the tray, then I'll put the fuel in the middle. By the time I finished conducting the experiments and writing, my whole body was smelling. When I get to my room, my roommate will sack me. So what kind of research are you doing? I hated research, to be honest with you. And what spoiled the whole thing was, when I was doing my literature review, my supervisor said, send me all your literature. So I'll send it to her. She was interested in sustainable fuels. Like some of you said 2 weeks ago, your supervisor just gave you the topic, so you are working on it. So I gave her the literature. And then when I was supposed to defend my thesis, she wasn't around. She had traveled. Then my mother found out on TV that this lady was at a conference presenting my work and talking about it as if it was her work. That day, she wanted to go to court and go and sue this woman, but the poor lady didn't have money, so she couldn't go. But I was so upset. So I closed my mind to research, and I said, this thing, it doesn't have integrity. It's not something I want to engage in. So I closed my mind to research. But then I found out that it wasn't so bad after all when I started doing my national service. I worked in the community health department in Kolebu. And I was working with people like, you don't know some of these names, like Professor David Oforeje and Professor Ashite of blessed memory, and some of the others, Professor Brichum. And they'll take us to communities. They would explain a research project that they had. We'll go and interview people. We'll come and sit down and write the report. And it was exciting to hear people's views about some of the health issues. So I thought, okay, research isn't bad after all. And when they were writing the proposals and you listened to them, yes, they were talking about the study designs, but not in the way that Mrs. Anokwa was presenting it in the classroom. It wasn't nice at all. So I said, okay, maybe this is something that could be of interest to me. And then I moved to the Navrongo Health Research Center, and I'm happy to hear your patron talk about attaching you to some of the research centers, because you learn a lot from those places. So today, Navrongo, Kintampo, Dodo are beautiful places, but when we went to Navrongo in 1989, where were you? Who was born in 1989? Nobody. In 1989, there was no electricity in Navrongo. So we had a generator, and then the lights would go off at 11 p.m. and then come on in the morning at 6 a.m. and the place was hot. So you wet your towel, you put one on your bed and put one at your back. And then by the time you cool down, you'll be ready to sleep, and then you wake up again. That was Navrongo at that time. But I learned a lot in research there. It was fun. The proposals were written, we'll go out, we'll collect the data, we'll come and sit together as a team and work on those reports. Research is teamwork. So it started off being a mistake, but then I started enjoying it. And like I told your colleagues 2 weeks ago, you must love research to be able to do it. If you don't like it, it will be a burden, just like it was a burden for me when I was in school. So I just want to dispel any fears you have about research. Some of your lecturers may be here. I also teach research methods. Don't worry when we are talking about funny things. If you don't understand, ask us, okay? because we don't want to create fear and then drive you away from research. But the fact that you are sitting here today means that you are interested in research and you want to do it. So I've answered David's first question, what led me into research? Going out into a work environment where research was done practically really got me interested in research. And I believe if you do some of your attachments in some of the places he's talking about, you'll be interested. Get yourself attached to, like he said, the Institute of Health Research, the library, and in fact, our latest professor on the block. You see, you need research to be able to produce publications and to be able to climb the academic ladder. So for her to be appointed professor, it means that she has done the research, she has published her work, and she's found credible. Let's clap for her. So your dean of students, she's not a joke at all. She's worked hard. So if you want some research experience, you can go and see her. So the next question was, what kept me going? Sometimes you start something and then you give up. What kept me going? For some of you who don't know, I worked in the Ghana Health Service for several years, more than 25 years in the Ghana Health Service. And I was in the research division. And one of the things that excited me was to see our research being used in healthcare delivery. Many of you know about the bed nets that we use. We take it for granted. We did the research in Navrongo to look at the effect of sleeping under a bed net on the life of a child under 5. So we did that research. Before then, the use of bed nets was not policy in Ghana or in Africa. But through that research, bed nets are being used in Ghana today. One of the first studies we conducted in Navrongo was on the vitamin A trials to look at the effect of a dose of vitamin A on the survival of a child. So today, when you go for child welfare clinics and you see children being given vitamin A, it's as a result of that study. Another study we conducted was on the use of rectal artesunate for severe malaria. When the children cannot take anything by mouth, you will find rectal artesunate in all our health facilities today. And you give it rectally, the child will return to a status where the child can take some medication, and then they are given anti-malarials. We did those studies in Navrongo and Dodowa. And then the almighty National Health Insurance Scheme that we are all enjoying today started off as a small research project in Dodowa when I was working there. And at that time, the community members called it Danbe Hewa Minamipe, Danbe Good Health Association. And they said they don't want all the paperwork like insurance for cars. Something simple, register us, then we can use it. So the national level came to Dodowa to come and learn about the scheme that we had put in place. So for me, the fact that my research was being used and I can point to it is what kept me going. Otherwise, I think I would have just given up. And you remember 2 weeks ago, I was saying that when you are choosing your problem, it must be a real problem, not something that you sat in your classroom and scratched your head about. A real problem that would address an issue. So some of your friends were talking about, was it HIV and some infections for adolescent health. And we asked where was the problem from, and she said as part of her work doing vocational training or one of the places they identified that problem. So if the problem you identify is real and you solve it, the institution that you worked with will be happy to take up the results and use it. And you feel proud that this research that I did has led to something meaningful. How many of you have seen this child health and maternal health card, the red one? The book, you've seen it. In the middle, there's a card, a COC card, Continuum of Care card. Have you seen it? We did the research in Dodowa. So anytime I go to a health facility, I open that book to see whether they've put the stamps in it. And then they look at me strangely. Why are you asking about it? I said, this card goes with the stamp. So if the mother has come for antenatal care, and you've given her education, and you've taught her how to prepare for delivery, you must put the stamp in it. And I can say it because we did the research for it to be in that book. So you see, research is exciting. And today, this is me saying research is exciting. Me who hated the research. It's exciting. But then when it becomes real and you can see the results, it makes it very, very exciting. The third question he asked me was, have you been challenged to a breaking point? Have you been challenged to a breaking point in doing your research? And he made me go back some years ago where I felt like quitting my job. You know, as a researcher, you write research proposals, and when we started the research process 2 weeks ago, we said we'll end up writing a research proposal. So you see a call for proposals, you respond to it, and then you are given money to do the research. My first research grant was $2,000. The one for the BedNet study, it was $2,000. And this one I'm talking about was £3 million. And it involved institutions from Ghana, Nigeria, Mali, the UK, and Switzerland, several countries, and we're looking at capacity building. So it was somebody in one of these big organizations who saw the call and called us together and said, let's write this proposal. So we spent time sitting down, writing the proposal. When we finished, they said I should lead the group. Usually you need a PI. So they said I should lead the group. And I said, oh, I didn't think I should lead the group. I mean, there are other people who should lead. They said, no. They wanted a lady, they wanted an African, they wanted somebody. They said all the things. So I agreed to it. Little did I know that this consortium that we had formed was somebody's retirement plan. But the person had not retired and needed somebody to hold the fort. And I didn't know. So as soon as the person retired, we started facing a lot of pushback. And that we were not doing our work well, so many things. Honestly, I laid my tools down and said I wasn't going to lead this group anymore. It was a painful experience. And last week, I went to the hotel where we held a meeting where I told them I was not interested in this anymore. And it brought a lot of very bitter memories for me. So in research, you can face challenges depending on the group that you are working with. So when you are forming a group to do your research, think carefully about who you choose, because they can either make you or finish you completely. Some people are coming into the group because of money. In fact, this person wanted me to transfer £80,000 into an account, and I said I will not do that. And that was the source of all the problems. So yes, in doing your research, you form a group, but be careful about who you put in that group to work with you, because it can be dangerous. I had to get somebody to tell me that quitters don't win for me to stay on. It was a 5-year project, and it was in the 3rd year that we started having these challenges. As a researcher, you don't quit halfway through. Quitters don't win. Quitters don't win. The next question is, what should beginners take note of? What should beginners take note of? I've said it before, research is a passion. You need to love it. My children laugh at me every day. They say, when I'm sleeping and you tap me, the first thing I'll say is proposal. I've written so many proposals. Not all of them have been funded, but every year I tell myself, I'm tired, I won't write anymore. Then I'll see another call, and then I'll write for it, and then you get the grant. And then next year I say, I'm tired, I won't write anymore. And last year I said, I won't write anymore. This year I have written 2. It's a passion. It's a passion. But some of us think that research is, oh, they are going to Akosombo to go and collect data. And they say when you go, they will pay you. So that is why they want to do the research. Hello? Have you heard that before? So a lot of people want to do research because when they go with the IHR people, I hear that they will train you. They'll give you food every day for 5 days. And then when you go to the field, they'll give you money too. If there's a reason why you want to do research, then I'm sorry. Because when we were growing up, there were some of the projects that you go on. In fact, when I was doing my national service, I didn't even know that there was payment in research. You just go and collect the data and come back. All right? Some of us also think that somebody should sit somewhere and write the proposal and bring it to you to implement. It doesn't work that way. In the Ministry of Health or some of the ministries, sometimes that happens. The World Health Organization wants to execute something, then they bring the proposal and then they work on it. But if you want to be a researcher, a proper academic, you write your own proposals with your colleagues. So research, for beginners, research is something you must love. It comes with a lot of hard work. You really have to work hard. Sleepless nights. I don't have a life. My life is my house, my office, church, and then maybe once a while, my year group, we have meetings and stuff like that. I don't know anywhere. I've been in HO 6 years. I have people who come as students from my family, and they get to know places I've never heard of before in HO. I don't know anywhere in this place. But if it comes to writing proposals, you'll find me. Because it requires a lot of hard work. It's not easy. Sometimes you are up midnight writing proposals because you have a deadline to meet. And that's why I talked about time management, which is critical. If the deadline is 6 p.m., it's an online portal. You can't say you are submitting it 5 minutes after 6. They've closed the portal, so you cannot submit. Time management is critical. You have to submit your report, and it's online. They close the portal at midnight, and you say, oh, maybe they'll give me some more time, so 2 a.m. By the time you go, it's closed. You can't even have access to it. And we are doing that to the faculty. There's a faculty development grant, and you have to submit your application online. Prof. Annaman has done it before. And as soon as it's midnight, we close the portal. Then you have people calling us. I'm trying to submit my proposal. It's not going. We said the deadline is passed. And they are shocked. They say, oh, but this is UHAS. We say UHAS is international. And we are living by international standards. So maybe what we can do is that when you do your proposals, we'll create a setup and give you a deadline to submit. And we'll see how many people can submit before the deadline. Research comes with discipline. So for young people, know that it comes with discipline, it comes with proper time management, and it is hard work. Okay? And then last but not the least, I've been asked to share my personal wishes for the club. Like I said, I'm very impressed with what you guys have done. Congratulations. You've really, really, really done well. And last week when I was teaching my graduate students and I mentioned the club, they were really excited. So we've created a small portal, and you have 2 of them who have expressed interest to be part of the club. One of them is an editor of an international students' journal. So he's really willing to support you to write up your work, to publish in that journal. And I was also happy to hear about the establishment of the UHAS journal. So there are lots of prospects with this club. There are lots of people who are interested. All your faculty who teach you research methods, we reached out to them, and they are very excited and want to join. The notice for this for them was a bit short, but I'm sure you will see them. So I want to suggest to the executive, take out the IHR in front of the preceptors, because the preceptors have gone beyond IHR alone. It has all other faculty who are teaching. It has those 2 MPhil students from School of Public Health who are joining. So I wish you well. I don't see your colleagues from Hoa here because of the distance. Maybe next time we can create an online version for them to join. And once they know that the workshops happen once a month or so, they can make the necessary arrangements to be able to join you. You have started very well, and you have leaders who are committed to make sure that this happens. And I saw that their term is just 1 year. Is it 1 year? I hope you hand over properly to people who will take up who will pick up the fever and be able to continue what you have started. In my lifetime here, I don't want to see this die. I want this to grow. And when we meet here, it will be huge. And sometimes we have to go and meet in another place. We are all here to support you, and we'll do whatever we can to make this club succeed. Ayeko.
Thank you very much, Prof. Please, it's time for questions. Our facilitators have spoken a lot, so it's time for questions.
Yes, this is my favorite part of every seminar. You are free to speak. Once it's open forum, we are all equal. We are all in level 100, so feel free. Questions? We'll start from, in no particular order, if you have any contribution, questions. Yes. The floor is open. Just raise your hand. Because of the invited guests, you are shy. I know you always, we ask a lot of questions. Who is starting? Should I call someone? If you don't speak, we won't close. I'm waiting.
Hello. I think what she's asking is, what are the qualities of someone's work that will make it publishable? Yes. Let's take 4, then we can listen to answers. Or if you want to answer, you can raise your hand. The second question is, if you have completed your research work as a member of a club, could you submit it as your final year project, or you have to pick another problem to work on in your final year? Two more for the first round.
Thank you very much. Please, my question is, as a member of the research club, if you write a proposal and it's being accepted, and you are told to carry out your research, how are you going to get your funding? Thank you.
Well, I think my question is almost the same as what she asked, but somehow different. Because I was going to ask, if you are able to pick a research topic and it's very interesting and you are developing it, would there be any form of collaboration maybe between the UHAS Student Research Club and then the IHR, or probably the library, so that they will help you with funding and also support so that you'll be able to publish those research proposals?
Okay, we have our first four. So the first one is, what qualities will make your research paper publishable? The second one is, if you've completed your voluntary research, can you turn it in as your final year project? The third one is, how do you get your project, how do you get funding for your project? And the fourth is a hybrid. Can you collaborate with the IHR and the library as part of your voluntary research or final year project? Okay, so I think we have to start with the freshest professor.
Thank you very much, David. I'll start with the question that borders on funding, where to get money. As long as you don't have a grant for a research, you have to fund it. But if you have a research project going on, and it's a very good area, and you are able to identify people that can collaborate with you or people that can fund, you can always tender in for funding, and if there is money available, they will support you. But if you don't have funding, then you have to fund the project. So I don't know if that addresses your concern as well. But I pick a little bit from yours, collaboration. Collaboration, if you are doing a research, you decide to collaborate. But sometimes, depending on the research question that you want to answer, you may not be the only person with that expertise. And if you want that credibility that comes with the work you are doing, you need the right people to be on board. So the decision to collaborate depends on you, the PI, and also the focus of your study, yes, and the problem that you want to answer. So I've answered you. And then the third person. That's the first one. I'll take it last. Yes. There's a third question. I wasn't writing, so I forgot. As a project. Okay. At this stage, I would advise that you have a lot to do for you to be awarded your degree. So for you to take on too much may derail you. So I would advise that, yes, whatever project that you are doing for your study, you can, the skill sets that you will be acquiring by virtue of being part of this project, this club, would rather help you so that that qualities will be seen in your academic requirements. So you can do that. When you finish and you have the degree, it's then between you and the ocean. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do as many projects at a time as you want to. Otherwise, if you take on too much, because UHAS, we train professionals. So all the programs that are done here are very demanding because we even struggle to fit everything into the curriculum for a particular program. So for you to take on too much projects at a time, it may derail you from the courses that you are required to do. So rather, I would say you should focus on improving or producing a quality work, acquire the skill sets from the club or by virtue of being a member of the club, as I said earlier, and let that influence the work that you produce. So you can use one work, the same work for project work. Whatever you are doing here, send it in for your project work. But then some of the schools, the project works are done in groups. Then there has to be a negotiation there with the group members. It's also a skill set you need to acquire when you are collaborating, how to negotiate through your collaboration. So if you are in a group and you have a very beautiful project that you are doing as part of club activities, you can negotiate with the group members and tender it in. When you finish, you can do whatever you want to do. And then the last one, of course, okay. Of course, the first one has to be the quality of the work you are doing. Yes. You can't write anything and expect it to be published. That is why all the journals, they have their specific requirements to guide you as to how to improve the quality. When you write a research project, when you finish, it's quite voluminous. You cannot publish the whole thing as an article. So the journals have their specifications that you need to follow. By the time you finish, it refines the work and gives it some level of quality. So the quality of work that you do. And then the second important thing, I think, is the problem you want to answer. It's not just the title, because the title has to emanate from the problem. So it's the problem you decide to answer or to find solution to. Very, very important. And I give you a practical example. That is not to say some things are more important. It depends on where you are standing or what you are looking for. When we had the COVID outbreak, in the latter part of 2020, 2021, if you did anything in COVID, quality work, of course, the chances that you get your work published was very high. Because at that time, at that particular point, we were all looking for a solution. So sometimes it depends on the problem. So two, I've talked about two. So I think the last two things that will determine whether your work will be published, I'll leave it to my seniors. Thank you.
I think that one of the very important things is about your citations. Every journal would look at the quality of the work you have done and then would also look at your citations. And so when you're doing your citation, it's very important. In fact, I liked what she said about developing your skills at this point in time. You know, so you need to develop skills on how you can do proper citation. And so when your work goes out there, it is something that will be desirable for publishing, you know. And of course, the problem you are solving. The topic you're writing on, is it of interest to the publishers you have sent your material to? So these are some of the things that you need to look at, and your work can be published, yeah.
I think my colleagues have covered all the issues, and sometimes it's good to have something that is interesting that is not out in the literature yet, okay? You find people choosing a research problem or a topic, and 2 weeks ago I gave the example where somebody goes onto University of Ghana repository and they see a research project, and then they change the study area. So this piece of work was done in Kumasi, and they say, oh, this is nice, and then they change it to Volta region. And then you know how we catch them, because instead of was, they say is, and then they are mixing things up. And if you try to publish this, the reviewers, who are people like us, will say, but this work has been done before, and it's not going to be published. So you need new, innovative ideas to be able to publish. The work must be good. Like has been said, there are guidelines. And we'll take you through the process. We'll show you examples of some of the requirements of the editors of these journals. So in my office, when we are writing papers, the first question I ask is, which journal are you submitting it to? Once we know the journal, we'll take the instructions one by one and follow the instructions. Your chances of getting your paper published is highest when you follow the instructions of the journal.
Let me briefly talk about the issue of plagiarism. I'm sure it's something a lot of you have heard about. You know, yes, we would give you, as part of information literacy, you would be taught plagiarism, what it is and how to avoid it and all that. And so, yes, if you're writing and whatever you have written has chunks of other people's works, immediately it can be rejected. Because note, these articles you would send out will be taken through probably a plagiarism checker. Mostly we use Turnitin, but there are other plagiarism checkers. It will be taken through, and if it is highly plagiarized, immediately it would be rejected. Yeah.
Please, I also want to ask a question. In Dr. Teresa's presentation, she said we can access the UHAS library from anywhere at all, even at homes. So how do we access it, and how can we use it in our research works and assignments and other presentations also?
Okay, she begins the first question for the second round. So we'll take another 4. So, questions?
Thank you very much. Please, my question is that, let's say I'm carrying out my research and I need specific information or resources. What will be an identification of me as a member to get those specific resources that I need?
Okay, so mine is concerning plagiarism. I wanted to ask, to what extent can you copy someone's work? To what extent, as in the paraphrasing, citation?
Last one.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Kezia, and my question is, will the club be open to people who are in the club but have completed school? Thank you.
Okay, so that's the last of the 4. The last one is mine, so I'll take that one and I'll push over the rest. So we have associate members, alumni, workers in the university environment, people who may not necessarily be students. They can join, but then they are a little different from students. So voting rights and some other areas of our constitution will not give them equal status as students, but they will be associate members. They will get to learn as much and do what they want to do pertaining to research. I hope you answered. Yes. The other 3 questions are library predominant. So Please do us the honors. He said, how can you access information of the library wherever you are?
Remotely,
Remotely,
access.
yes,
I think that by now you should have received some communication from the library with respect to authentication. Have you? By show of hand, let me see. Yes, quite a number of you. In fact, all of you are supposed to have received by now. If you have not, then please do well to contact the library, because we are giving authentication to all our students, so that whether you are on campus or you are off campus, you should be able to have access to our resources. And when you go to our website, you will see that there's a portion where we have written off campus. And so when you are off campus and you want to have access to the resources we have, you just go over there, and then it would ask you for authentication. You would put in your password and your username and your password, and then you can have access as if you were right here on campus. Basically, it is IP based. So when you are on campus, you don't need any authentication. But outside of campus, you need that authentication. And so if you haven't received anything from the library yet, then please contact us. But I believe that all of us should have received. Or Dominic, hey, Dr. J, sorry you. I'm sorry. Yeah, by now all of you should have. Probably you may not have checked your email. You've received yours. Okay, so then it means you've also received. So it cuts across for both faculty and students. So by now, and if you haven't, please do well too, because this would really help you. Okay? And then the other one is, somebody was asking. Okay, so you don't need any identification to access our resources, basically. The most important thing is that you are a student of UHAS. And so if you are a student of UHAS, you have access to all our resources. The only thing I would say is that because you are a member of the club, probably we get to know you a bit more, and then we get to know your research needs, and we are able to meet you more and more at the point of your need. Otherwise, if you are a staff, if you are a student of UHAS, you have access to all our resources. And then, like I said when I was giving my presentation, now we want to do some more collaboration with the club, so that we'll see what the individual needs are, and then we can meet them a bit more. Yeah. Any other one?
To what extent can you copy someone's work?
To what extent can you copy someone's work? You see, you are not supposed to copy, but there's nothing new under the sun. When you do a lot of reading, you would know that there's nothing new under the sun. And so if there's nothing new under the sun, it means that what you are thinking about now, somebody may have thought about it and written about it. You can read about those things, and then you can now formulate your own ideas around what has already been written. Okay? And so you end up, well, sometimes what some people do is rewrite the thing in their own words. No, that is not it. Try to find a way of capturing it as if it were actually coming from you. You know, but when your work is all done, for a lot of institutions, they would, because they know there is nothing new under the sun. And so they would give you a certain percentage of how much of your work can have similarities. It is not copying, similarities. And so for some places, they will say you can have 20%. I think the highest will be about 30% of similarity. But I haven't seen beyond 30% before. I don't know. But Prof, maybe, yes. But most of the time, from 30%, 20%, yes, there can be some similarity. But you can always read other people's things, and then you tweak it in your own way and let it come out nicely.
But that is why we always say you cite the source of the information. Okay? You find students writing 3 paragraphs, and I ask, where is this from? It's not your own. The words are too fine to be yours. So there's nothing wrong, and that is why it shows that you have read. Okay? So cite where you got the information from. That one saves you a lot of trouble. But when you write it as if it's your own, some of the English is too fine. The English that you people speak these days, when I read the thing, I can tell that this one is not your English. So I ask, where is it from? So cite it. Okay? Dr. J.
Thank you, Prof. So Google Scholar will tell you should stand on the shoulders of giants. So everything, anytime you want to come out with knowledge, you start from existing knowledge. You write yours based on what has been written already. But the needful thing you need to do is to acknowledge the sources. Somebody has invested so much in knowledge. Don't just arrogate that knowledge to yourself as if it is yours. Acknowledge the source. There's nothing wrong with it. And it saves you a lot. So that if you go and quote something that is not correct in your work, anybody will be attacking you for quoting that. But if you say that, as according to this person, this is this and this and this, they are not coming to you directly. They are going to look for the source where you got that information from. And another reason why you need to be citing is to give credibility to your work. Academically or scientifically, people don't want you to be writing your subjective ideas. Back your subjective ideas with existing knowledge. And that is through citation and referencing. So it is always good to stand on the shoulders of giants. Thank you.
And the library is here to help you with that. I have already mentioned that. The library is here to teach you how to do proper citation. And so you would have some with information literacy. Yeah, but if you need more details about some of these things, we can organize as part of your club programs, we can organize some of these things for you just as a club. Yeah.
I know there are more questions, but type the questions on the page. Yes. We'll forward them and then we'll bring you the responses. I know everybody has a question. But time, you see, I want to change. I have to. Yes, I have to. So we'll proceed by taking some short remarks, beginning from the SRC president, climbing up, and then we wrap up quickly.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry. So it's been a very informative session. I've greatly enjoyed everything that's been said. I believe most of us have had a fire sparked deep within our hearts that won't get quenched like Prof. MG's former one. Yes. So thank you so much for organizing this. It's been really helpful. I'd also like to once again applaud our mother, the Dean of Students, on her promotion to ASUPROF, and also wish Prof. MG a belated happy birthday. Yes, thank you.
And then we want to hear a message from the registrar. She has a representative, so we have to hear something.
Thank you very much, and good evening to you all. I'm here on behalf of the registrar. I just want to give you the assurance that in terms of administrative support, the registry is ready to support this club. So please, all the things that you need administratively, come to the registrar's office. We are ready to help you. Thank you.
Oh, welcome. Thank you very much. Then, Professor, newest professor, your last words, just some few sentences.
Thank you very much. I would want to say that because all the programs at UHAS, we do research methods. I would say you find a way of robing virtually all students, especially the level 300s, because that's where we do research methods, so that they can also come and learn the wonderful things that we are learning here today. It's very, very important because most of you struggle with your research projects. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Then we want to hear the final words of the university librarian before we move to the end.
I'll say that I would like to applaud this great initiative. It is something that is dear to the hearts of the library. And so you have our full support as a library. In fact, you have our full support. As I indicated,
thank you very much.
We are here to support you with every resource that we have. I would want to see, for instance, the members of the club using the IAC training center, the ICT lounge, and even using our video conferencing facilities. You have our full support. Let me just end it. Both our human resources and everything, you have our full support. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful evening. The Vice Chancellor was supposed to be here. I don't know what you did to her, but somehow, just before she was coming, she started having some few medical challenges. So she's asked me to stand in for her. But she fully supports what is going on. You know that she herself is a researcher. She's interested in non-communicable diseases. She applauds you on this wonderful initiative. And let me add that we are very happy to see that you didn't go solo and that you have engaged the right institutions in the university. You have engaged the library, you have engaged the registry, you have engaged the Student Affairs Office and the Institute of Health Research. We're very happy to have learned that over 500 of you registered. And I hope that we'll be able to get many of you coming in for the sessions. 2 weeks ago was exciting. Today has been wonderful. The next time we meet for another workshop, I don't know what words to use to describe it. Okay, Dr. Edu says it will be amazing. It's nice to see that the number of people who are attending is growing, and I hope that it will continue to grow. You have a beautiful constitution, and I hope that you follow the constitution, follow it properly. And with many student clubs, there's a problem of mismanagement of funds. We do not want to hear that funds have been mismanaged in this club. I'm looking at your face. We do not want to hear that funds have been mismanaged. The dues are supposed to support you. You are supposed to render proper accounts to the members of the club. We don't want to hear of any financial mismanagement. Time management. As a researcher, you need to manage your time properly. I'm looking at him again. Let's come early. We're supposed to have started at 3 to close at 5. It's 6 o'clock. We are 1 hour late. IHR, Library, Student Affairs Registry, we don't do things late. We start on time. So start on time and then you can finish on time. I want to wish all of you well. I wish you every success. And I declare the club duly launched. Thank you.
Yes, so our invited guests have spoken. We want to hear one sentence from our patron. Then we take vote of thanks. And we go.
Thank you for the opportunity to say my last word.
Okay, we call on Robertson Bacha to give us the vote of thanks.
And so, good evening, everyone, once again. I deem it a great privilege to stand here to deliver a vote of thanks on behalf of the Research Club to show our heartfelt gratitude to all our dignitaries present here and our ladies and gentlemen. So my first thanks goes to God Almighty for making this program a success. Then my second thanks goes to all our dignitaries present here in the presence of Professor Matilda Japon. We also have in our midst Dr. Teresa Enin, then the representative of the registrar for their inspirational thoughts. I also thank all faculties present here. Last but not least, I would also like to thank our patron for being supportive, and finally, our student representative and all ladies and gentlemen present here. Once again, thank you all for honoring this invitation. Thank you.
Okay, so we are almost there.
Thank you very much. I had to step in. We are students, and wherever we go, we learn. So we would want to, the guy to come back and then mention the correct names. You cannot mutilate the names of big ladies among us like that. So can we have him back? It's very important that we learn the right thing. And we start from home. Okay, so I don't know if the president will guide him to mention the right names. You know, names are very important. They are our identity. So you can't take it away from us. Thank you.
Okay, so please, as we are still preparing to Okay, so please, as we still wait for Robertson, can we kindly take our phones and then log in, open or launch our YouTube apps? So you take your phones, you go to YouTube. We want to support our own, so you search for the UHAS-based TV, and then you subscribe and then like their videos also. They are really helpful to our program, so we want to do this to support them. Okay. We also want to use this opportunity to thank the ICT department for helping us. Today is not a working day, but they came here to help us. We really appreciate it. Also, the UHAS-based TV, we want to say a very big thank you for your help and your support. And please, those who are not on our pages and want to join, kindly see the president or any of the executives after this, please. Thank you.
So I'm taking it again. Yeah. So I deem it a great privilege to stand here to deliver my vote of thanks on behalf of the UHAS Students Research Club to show our heartfelt gratitude to all dignitaries and student body present here. So my first thank goes to God Almighty for making this program a success. And then I also like to thank our following dignitaries in the persons of Professor Margaret Japon, Dr. Teresa Edu, Prof. Judith Anaman Tegbo, and Mr. Emmanuel Anido in the representative of the registrar. So I also want to thank all other faculties present here. And last but not least, I would like to thank our patron for being supportive, and finally our student representative in the person of Mr. Roger Mascot. Once again, I thank you all for honoring this program. Thank you.
So, Prof, we thank you very much for the corrections. We have learned. We have learned. So we invite Mr. Albert Ativo to give us the closing prayer. After the closing prayer, we'll be taking pictures with the professors and then our faculties around. So we'll come forward. The proceedings will be announced.
Please, can we all close our eyes and pray? Our most gracious Father, we are grateful for this very wonderful day you've given us. We thank you so much for all the blessings you've rendered upon us. Everlasting Daddy, here we are, and we thank you for the success of this launch of this UHAS Students Research Club. Indeed, this has been inspiring and encouraging, and we pray that may the fire that has been sparked in us today continue to flow for more than generations. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
It's time for the photography. So we would call on our invited guests too. Do you prefer to sit or stand? Okay. Executives and patron with the invited guests. First picture. Don't leave, you will take pictures before you go. And we have to pack the chairs and send the tables to their position. So please don't leave. Please don't leave. Charlie, is it? Please don't leave. And let him sit. You ask me. Yes, ma'am. Oh, let him also sit. Oh, you have to sit.